everyone, and welcome to Across the Pond. This is QJ, and with me is Dan, and we are doing 52 52s this year. I'm reading 52 books and playing 52 games, and Dan is watching 52 movies, although it's halfway through the year, and I might have to combine my games and books list to just one total 52 52, so we'll see how that goes.
I, on the other hand, I'm 32 in. I don't know how many weeks we're in now, but 32 as a total is pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Just, I think I might even watch more than 52 movies in this year. I don't know.
Wow.
I might just, the moment I hit 52, just stop and not watch anymore.
It must be great to have so much time on your hands that you have to put in so much effort to watch films.
Pretty easy.
It must take a lot of effort to watch all those films.
Or a life.
Yeah. You don't
or any friends.
have cats to take care of or anything like that.
Or human beings to take care of.
What? Oh, yeah. I do have one of those.
Oh, yeah. Husband.
Yeah, that thing. That thing that lives in my house.
He doesn't listen to this, right? Does he?
No.
I hope not. Because, that'd be awkward.
I guess. Yeah, because of how much I talk about all the embarrassing things that he does on the show.
Yeah,
that's really what the show is about. This intro was all
It was all lies. Give us a specific thing that Spiegel does that's really embarrassing. Go on.
Well, he doesn't hang his towel up after he takes a shower, for one thing.
That was really disappointing. I was expecting you to just make something up, like something completely outrageous, like, sometimes he brings hookers home and kills them. But no, he doesn't hang his towel up. It's really anticlimactic.
Well, he doesn't hang his towel up
Rubbish.
After he cleans up the blood of all the hookers he's killed. Obviously, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at least he cleans up after himself, but he just doesn't hang up the towel.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's something. At least he tries.
Yeah.
But
he does have a blow-up doll. But it's only about 2 feet long, and it's that character Teddy from Persona 5, or whatever the game is called.
See, I actually can't tell if you're making that up at this point,
no,
or if
I'm looking at it right now. Tollpatch is very afraid of it.
As in, a blow-up doll, just like a normal balloon type, or as in a sex doll blow-up doll.
I'm gonna let you figure that out for yourself.
Well, this was a riveting conversation, but did you play any video games this month? And I know you did, because you came to England and annoyed me for about 10 days.
Yes, I did. It was really fun. I played the Bugging Dan video game, and unfortunately I didn't finish the game, because it will never be finished until the day I die. Also, you and I played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and we finished it.
That we did.
Yes.
We finished we got to the end, we beat the final boss, who was annoying as hell, but we did it. That whole, final world was annoying. In fact, we covered the first, 5 worlds?
In our 5 hours
all but the last world we covered in a 5 hours in, which will be up in the next few days, hopefully, if I am capable of editing that, which I should be. Now I've said that, it has to be out.
Yep.
So we've covered pretty much everything we said in the first 5 hours in.
Yeah.
We don't really need to cover again here. But was there anything from the end segment of the game that you want to talk about? Because I know there's something I wanted to mention.
Not that I can recall, but altogether it was a really wonderful game, and I don't think I'd ever want to play Donkey Kong not co-op anymore, because it was just super fun. It was a really wonderful game.
So much better than Returns, for you at least, because
you
had support.
Yes.
I found the thing I wanted to mention was that the final world in Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is the DK Island, which is the same island from Returns, and each of the levels in that final world is themed around, it has the same theming as a level from as a whole world from Return. Sorry, so and it's the world map is exactly the same, and I just thought that was really cool and really clever.
That was really cool.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun looking up that map.
Yeah. Also, just even though he gave us a really hard time, that final boss was pretty great in his design. The way he danced around and just was a doofus the whole time.
The design of the whole game was neat. The bosses were really interesting because they were all tough and murderous, and then every now and then they would do a handstand or dance on their toes like a ballerina, and I'm just like, what is this game? The designers
That
had a
game
lot of
knew,
fun with that, and
like,
I had a lot of fun playing it.
yeah, it was very silly but very fun at the same time, and yeah, it was really enjoyable, really good game.
Good game.
We didn't mention it in the 5 hours in, but you also got a chance to play as Dixie Kong and Cranky Kong. Either of those better than Diddy, or did you just only love Diddy Kong throughout the whole thing?
Well, I think Dixie Kong is probably the most useful, but I loved Diddy the best because he's just the cutest.
Yeah.
And I want a little hat and backpack like he has. I just love the little noises he makes. He's adorable.
Yeah. You were pretty much in love with him for the whole game,
Yeah.
weren't you? Whereas I had to be Doofy, Clunky, freaking Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
At one point, QJ you were trying out Cranky Kong, and you were like, "Oh no, I can't hover," and I'm just like, "Welcome to my life. welcome to not having a handicap."
Well,
QJ.
that's what you
Welcome
get
to the game not being really easy.
for being a gamer and being better at video games than me. You just have to deal with you have more skills than I do, so you don't get the benefits that a noob does.
It was great though, because whenever you'd like give up and be like, "I want a break," and just like jump on my back, I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is a godsend! Now I have easy mode." Because like I get your special power, and I just be like, "Oh yes."
Yeah.
And then you jump off, and I'd be like, "Oh no."
Yeah,
I've got to play properly again.
It's a fun aspect of co-op.
Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a really good way of doing co-op, and also the co-op in that game, we didn't bounce off of each other. Like in, I think the Rayman games, this happens, and I'm 100% sure it happens in the new Super Mario Bros. Games.
Yeah.
You bounce off of each other, and it's so irritating to play that I would just rather play those games single player. Whereas in Tropical Freeze, and I assume Returns as well, you don't. You just move through each other like perfectly, and it makes so much sense because it actually makes the game fun. I don't get why they did the
although now that
bouncy physics.
Now that I think about it, there were some points that like there were like bananas or something that Diddy Kong could not reach that only Dixie Kong could, and if I was able to bounce off of Donkey Kong's head, I would have been able to reach them. But that seems like the only
that's
benefit.
true.
Anyway.
So you played a couple of other games. You didn't complete them.
No.
Because one of these games you can't complete, and the other you are too much of a wuss to complete.
Well, see, so I went to England, and I brought my 3DS, and I brought several games so that I would be caught up with my 52 by the time I left. But my 3DS died as soon as I arrived in your stupid country, and your stupid outlet plugs wouldn't let me charge my 3DS, and I even bought a little, adapter so that I could charge my phone, but it wouldn't charge the 3DS, so England just doesn't want me to play my little portable games, so whatever. Anyway, you made me play Five Nights at Freddy's, and
I did.
I am going to die young because of that gosh darn game. Never again.
She says that, right? What? Take a guess, right? Pause this now and give us right in the comments how much time you think QJ actually spent playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Put it in your comment right now. And then you'll have proof to see how wrong you are. And there we go. 10 minutes she spent playing this game, and then she stopped because she was too scared.
I am not exaggerating when I say I'm not exaggerating when I say I've literally never screamed like that in my entire life.
It was really funny, and we recorded it, and if it turns out...
and I was dying. I don't know how someone didn't come, because in your building you say everyone can like hear everything. I don't know how someone didn't come knock on your door and be like, "Is everything okay? Like, is someone hurt?" Because I couldn't control my scream.
Like,
it was horrifying. It really was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have that recorded. I'm gonna see if it's like. I'm going to see if it's like actually enjoyable to listen to. If it is, that'll be up on this channel at some point.
It was so scary.
14 minutes, I think, because there's a little bit of us like talking for a few minutes afterwards.
Yeah,
just
but you ended that recording so soon after I completely quit, so I didn't really get to give my thoughts on that game. But I think it's a really cleverly designed game. It's really well made.
Mm-hmm.
It's very spooky and very eerie, and it's kind of a disappointing thought that most of the game's exposure is just kids watching it on YouTube, and I think that's why a lot of people are turned off to the idea.
It has one of the worst fan bases since probably the Sonic fan base. Like, they are obnoxious. They're the worst. But,
And, a lot of people really enjoy being scared, and some people like being startled and jump scared, and there's really nothing wrong with that. But I don't think the game relies 100% on jump scares. I think it's got
No.
a lot of ways that you have to enable strategy and have to really use your brain. And when you have to think in that strategic way while also feeling like you are fighting for your life, it's a really interesting way to play a video game. I don't like playing that way because I was like sweating. I was so freaked out. But I mean, you had to help me through that game because I just couldn't think straight.
It was very funny to watch.
Yeah, I imagine that it was. But
yeah,
it was
the thing you
it
were
was a really
saying,
neat
like,
game, and you told me some stuff about the sequels, and they all seemed really interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
apart from two is just too much. But no, the thing I wanted to say was like Five Nights at Freddy's, for the most part, people act like it's just about the jump scares, but the jump scares are just there to like punish you if you fail. The
Yeah.
entire thing is more like stress management. Like it's a case of like, I don't want this jump scare. I know it's gonna happen, so it's like whatever. But it's building up this tension, and it does this incredibly well by having the atmosphere and the like little things, like the fact that you can't see Chica when she's in the kitchen, but you can hear her rattling around, or like
I don't want to
the
talk
way they
about it.
peer around those doorways and just stare at you with their vacant eyes. Like, there's a lot of really good atmosphere building in that game
Yeah.
that just people don't appreciate as much as I think they should.
Yeah, it's
Probably
kinda
because
like,
of the way it's gone into public image with like all the annoying fan
it's
base,
kind of like
but,
playing with a Jack in the Box when you're a child and you have to spin the thing and it's like da 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 da, and you're like, it's gonna jump out and get me.
Interesting you say that. Five Nights 2 has a mechanic where there is a Jack in the Box that you have to keep winding to keep something like
gosh.
to stop it from coming to get you. So you have to like keep an eye out for all of the animatronics, and there's way too many in Five Nights 2. That's kind of a problem in that one. And like all the while, every now and then you have to wind this music box or it will come and get you. It's and that song exactly that one plays. Like in a really creepy way. But now like Five Nights 3 is I'd say the most interesting one, because Five
Yeah.
Nights 3 has just one animatronic and you have to just lure it away from you, and then every now and then like the game will just try and distract you from it, and then you'll lose it and you'll be like, oh no, where did it go? It's
Yeah,
really
they-
good. It's
they
just
sound
it's
really
stress
cool.
management.
It's
great.
kind of like making your own horror movie. And I can't even really
Yeah.
handle horror movies because I don't like stressing out that I'm going to be startled. I can barely stand
Yeah.
thriller films. I think the movie Saw is like the worst I can do, which is a really well-made film, but that was like as scary as I could get.
I think just to go on a tangent here, I think Saw not really even about like jump scares and stuff. It's more about like this
It didn't really have any jump
daunting
scares.
tension and like building like horror of
Yeah,
like,
it's just,
it being the specific
psychological
situation that
thriller.
just is inherently kind of.
but yeah, that's the worst
I quite
can
like
do.
Saw. Like, it's not a bad film. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I can't do like jump scary
Yeah.
thrillers because I just
Like even really, really
I'm just not a
old
fan of them.
horror films, like they're remaking Stephen King's It, and I
Yeah.
love that book. But I don't think at this point I could even watch the really old horror film with Tim Curry, even though it was made in like the 70s and it's probably super cheesy by now, but I'd be like, nope, nope, scary clown, can't do it, nope.
Oh yeah, that. Okay. I was about to ask, is that the one with the clown? But yeah.
Yeah, I think Five Nights seemed like really good games, and I don't think I would ever play them again in my entire life unless I was sitting really, really, really far away from the screen with a wireless mouse and had the volume on low. So
Yeah, that's another thing. I made us turn the lights off, and like I forced you to wear headphones and stuff, so it was like double spooky.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
That's the only way to play those games. You can't play those with the lights on. All right, don't want to talk about it anymore.
No.
Chesh, we played a bit
Chesh!
of.
Lovely little
Chesh
game.
is such a good game. If you have a mobile device and someone to play Chesh with, it's so good. Basically, Chesh is if you take chess and then you it's almost hard to explain. You remove all of the like standard pieces and you just put in random pieces that look different every time and do completely different things every time. And whenever you tap on a piece, you're locked in and you have to move that piece, like no matter how it moves.
And you have to
you've
figure out
selected
how
that.
they move as you go along.
Yeah,
And
and,
you
like,
have to like remember
over the
what your
course of-
pieces
yeah.
did. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's really, it's a cute
You have to
game.
kind of
We played that whenever we were bored.
Yeah. You have to like watch what your opponent's doing, because if they move a piece that you haven't moved yet, like your pieces move the same as theirs, but it's different every game. So if they move a piece and you're like, that's how that one moves, you've
Yeah.
got to kind of remember that so you can use that piece to your advantage later. It's it's clever, and
Yeah.
every game is different,
The most
and
fun
it's
was
really fun
just
to just sit and play with a friend.
the most fun was just figuring out what all the little swirly pieces were. Like there was a box that just said floop, and then there was one that was a piece of pizza that for some reason said the word yo next to it. So we were all like, I'm gonna get your pizza yo with my floop. I'm like, I can't believe we're saying these sentences. And there were just like
Yeah, it's
swirly
so
ones,
good.
and I'm like, I'm gonna move my flower over here, and you were like, what? That's a dragon.
Yeah, some of them almost end up looking kind of like Rorschach like puzzles where
Yeah.
you like everyone interprets what it looks like differently. Like there was one where it's like I saw it as a tree and you saw it as like I don't even remember what you saw it as, but it was completely different and we were just like, "Oh yeah, no, I can see how that's that." It's what a good game. But yeah, people who are like, "Oh, mobile games suck. Don't play mobile games." Shut up. By Chesh.
Yeah,
Chesh is the
that's a
best.
fun little game.
It's so good. So good.
Yeah, and it's a game you can never
Um,
really like get better at because it changes every round you play.
no. Well, you can kind of like improve cognitively, like you can get better at memorizing
Well,
and
sure,
strategizing with what you've got. But like, yeah,
but it
there's
feels like
no
you're
like
starting
with
anew
chess.
every time.
Yeah, with like normal chess, you're just like, oh, I know this strategy or this strategy. Chess, no, there's no strategy. You just have to calculate what you're doing as you go, and it's so wonderful.
All right, so if we count all those games, I am even more on track with my one video game a month this year.
Yeah, there's no way you can count 10 minutes of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I
Like,
think
it's not a long
I
game.
should be
but, like,
able
no,
to.
No, no, because
That
you didn't
game
even complete the
took-
first night.
that
No.
game took like 3 weeks off my life. It was so scary.
Five Nights at Freddy's. How many did you complete?
I died.
Yeah, none. Doesn't count. You cannot count that.
Yes,
towards
I
52, 52.
can.
Like, I'm lenient, and I'll allow like half completing a game if it's like if you did Skyrim and you did several of the main
I
quests.
played
but
the
didn't finish
game,
the main
and I
quest.
played as
I'd be
much
fine
as
with
I
that.
could.
But no,
And
no.
I learned about what it was, which the whole point of this experience with the 52 is to play new games and expand my horizons. And you know what? There were no horizons in that game because I was trapped in a building with scary puppet creatures, and I couldn't see what was on the horizon because I was gonna die. And I died. I don't want to do it anymore. And it counts, okay? It's not fair.
I mean, I guess if you really want it to count, it can count, but I don't think it should. But oh well. So is that all your video games?
That's all so
You done
far.
there?
Yeah, I started playing
Alright,
Pokemon
that's not
Omega
too bad.
Ruby on the plane, and I'm naming all my Pokemon
Ah,
after all the favorite things I saw in England. So once I finish
Oh,
that,
that's cute.
I'll let you know all the names of my party.
So there's one named after me then.
No, I named my
that-
rival after you, so I could beat him up.
Good.
Just kidding. I don't get to name my rival in that
Good.
game.
Do you not? Oh, okay. Well, rip.
Books. I read
Books.
books. I read 2 books of
Yeah.
short stories when I was on the plane. One
Mhm.
was by B.J. Novak, which I don't know if you know. He was on the American Office, and he also
Jay.
was that necessary?
No, but it was funny.
I wonder
You
if the
just
mic
quit.
can pick me up breathing heavily at you. Anyway,
All right, go on.
B.J. Novak wrote for The Office, and he also, oh my gosh! What the hell is your problem? Okay, we're done. This
Oh,
episode is over.
we're
Goodbye.
Roll the end slate.
Ah.
Okay, no, but seriously, BJ, no.
So he wrote for The Office, and he played the character Ryan. He's a really good writer. This book of short stories is incredibly funny and really interesting. It's really, really dry humor, and all the dialogue in it is really realistic. Most of the short stories are only maybe 2 pages long. My favorite one is a little over a page, and it is called The Man Who Took Pictures of Everything He Ate. And it basically goes, there was once a guy who took pictures of all his food and posted them on social media, and he had about 12 followers, and they all teased him, and picked on him and were mean to him and were like, you're stupid for posting pictures of your food. You're like, why do you post pictures of your food? And it said he posted pictures of all his food because it made him feel like he was eating his meals with more people. And that's also why he liked the teasing. The end.
Oh. that was not much payoff.
No, it's so,
Okay, cool.
it ends so dark and sad. I'm like, oh my gosh, people actually live their lives that way. But I love the humor of, I love his humor. It's really funny. And a lot of the stories will connect with each other.
Yeah.
Like, one is about this guy who talks about how he's going to, like, find the love of his life by wearing a red shirt every day, because then he can go on missed connections on a website and see if anyone was like, hey, like, you wore a red shirt, I love you. And then, like, 10 short stories later, this girl writes a long stream of consciousness note on missed connections about this, like, really long date she went on. And she was like, yeah, but I don't remember your name, and you were wearing a red shirt.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's cute. And my favorite one is only a few sentences long, and it's called If You Love Something, Let It Go. And it goes like this. If you love something, let it go. And if you don't love something, definitely let it go. Basically, just drop everything. Who cares?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. They're really, really funny. Really entertaining. The other book of short stories I read is called... Oh, the one by B.J. Novak is called And One More Thing. And I hate you, Dan.
See, I tried to really stifle that laugh, so I'm not sure if it even showed up on, like, my audio recording.
Yeah, well, then I guess I just hate you for no reason.
Okay, cool. Yeah, next book.
Next is called Welcome to the Monkey House by Kurt Vonnegut. His short stories are really surreal and almost disturbing in a way. They're kind of sci-fi. Some of them are sci-fi. Some of them are kind of just like a slice of life, eye-opening kind of thing. They're not as simple to read as Novak's short stories, but they're really, really interesting. The book has one of the best American short stories ever written. It's called Harrison Bergeron, and it's this dystopian tale. And it starts out with, like, this couple that's sitting in their house watching TV, and, well, the first sentence is, like, that it's, like, 200 years in the future, and everyone is equal, finally, and they do that. There are these people called the handicap generals, and they make everyone equal by, like, putting handicaps in people's ears who are really smart by, like, making loud sounds go off so they can't think very much, or they put, like, really ugly masks on really pretty people, and people who are really strong and capable, they put, like, bags of birdshot on their shoulders, so when they walk really slow, and, like, they still do, like, shows on TV where people are, like, dancing and entertaining everyone, but, like, no one dances well or plays music well because, you know, no one's better than anyone else. And then this kid named Harrison Bergeron, basically, who's, like, super handsome and extremely strong and really, really tall, he, like, breaks into this studio and rips off all his handicaps, and he's like, I'm gonna be, like, the emperor of this place, or whatever. He's like, basically, I'm gonna break off all these handicaps, and no one can restrain me. And he takes, like, a dancer girl and takes off her handicaps, and she's beautiful, and he takes the handicaps off all the musicians and says, like, play your best, and suddenly the music's beautiful, and he, like, dances with her for a while, and there's this really high-strung moment of, like, oh, they're gonna break through the oppression, this is amazing, because everyone sees it and is like, whoa. And then the handicapper generals come in and shoot them both dead and tell everyone to put their handicaps back on, and everything just goes back to how it was. And then it goes back to the people who were watching TV in their living room who saw this whole thing.
Yeah.
And they were Harrison Bergeron's parents. And so they basically just saw their son get killed, but they were just like, oh, okay, because they can't think too much about it because they have handicaps in their heads. And they were just like, oh, no, well, you know, life goes on as normal.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's real sad.
It's one of my favorite short stories.
Yeah, that's good.
But this,
Nice.
It's a good, really good book. Awesome short stories. Another book that I read was also by Kurt Vonnegut, and it's this nonfiction compilation of speeches he gave at different graduations. And it is incredibly awe-inspiring. I love the way he speaks. He's a very compassionate, very inspiring person, and he talks a lot
Yeah.
about, how he thinks as people we need like communities to live in, and the best thing we can do with our lives is like to serve people around us. And he talks a lot about how like the best thing we can do for our world is to just like be merciful with people, because
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of this like old tyrant he talks about, but he's the guy who basically invented the idea of like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And that's like how we constantly go about living our lives in this world, is by like getting revenge on people. And he always takes it back to Jesus and how he was like the most merciful man who ever lived. And he always talks about forgiveness, and he's like, if we all lived our lives that way, it would be so much more peaceful on this planet. And he also talks about just like not worrying that you can't do much for this world because we're all here for such a short time. He says he always tells his grandkids, like, why do you want me to do anything about it? I just got here. And he's like 80. But I don't know, the inspirational quotes he gives are really, really cute, and I love them. They're really heartwarming, and he talks about being creative and always doing things for yourself and for other people, and how what are you giggling at?
Just the idea of being creative.
Okay.
What's your favorite idea?
Mine is being
creative. Okay, let's not do that.
No.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
On. Something about Kurt, what's his face?
Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah. One of the greatest writers in American fiction. Gives amazing speeches.
Good.
And I love them.
Nice.
I also reread the BFG. You read that too, didn't you?
See, I felt like I did read that, but I feel like we can probably talk about that in a little bit. In the
I
movies
was thinking
section,
this would make a nice little segue, wouldn't it?
Oh, would it?
Would it?
No, because the BFG is like really. I do them in chronological order when I do movies, so the BFG is like really late in that. So no.
You have a little special system that you can't break.
I do have a system that I can't break, because if I didn't do them in chronological order, there's no reason for me to not do them in chronological. It just makes sense to me, alright? It has to happen that way, and that's how it goes.
Okay.
But
we can talk about that when we come up with... Yes, we did. And we both saw it.
What a splendid book. Just before we move on to movies, actually, can I just say that the Kindle version, because I recently bought a Kindle because QJ has inspired me to start reading books more.
Mm-hmm.
The Kindle version of the BFG has a little foreword by like one of his daughters, and she's basically saying how Roald Dahl used to like push a bamboo stalk through their window and like blow through it, like when they were sleeping, to pretend that like the BFG was blowing dreams into their bedroom.
Aww.
And it's so adorable. It's like the most heartwarming thing to read. And like apparently at one point they were starting to question it, and like they were starting to doubt that the BFG was real and stuff. So Roald Dahl ruined his lawn by painting the initials BFG in weed killer, and then in the morning he pretended to be mad at the BFG for ruining his lawn. And there's a quote in there where she's just like, she says, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't remember the exact quote, but she says something along the lines of, the idea of his children not believing in magic meant more to him than the precious lawn that he'd worked for ages on. And it's just like, that is a man that I want to hug. Like, that guy just, it's wonderful. Yeah, that book is just lovely.
Roald Dahl writes.
We're going to talk about it when we talk about the movie, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to read more. Like, they're on my Amazon wish list at this point. Like, I'll get around to them. It's going to happen. But also this month, I've decided I'm going to forego, when a movie has been suggested to me by a viewer, I'm going to forego saying saying that it was until the end, because as regular viewers will know, I have a system where I make up a movie that I've seen, and I pretend that I've seen a movie I haven't, and at the end QJ has to work out which of these movies I haven't seen. And I feel like it kind of gives it away when I say that I've someone suggested one, because I always watch ones that have been suggested.
This is my least favorite game.
So this month I'm going to test out not saying who suggested movies until the end. Then I'll give shout-outs and stuff. So let's get straight into the movies.
Okay.
The first movie I watched this month was the Shaun the Sheep movie.
Oh,
because Aardman are really good at animated films. Like Curse of the Were Rabbit is probably one of my favorite animated films of all time. I felt like I kind of went through a phase of like not wanting to watch kids movies for a while when I was like a teenager, and that's kind of when this movie came out. So I kind of missed it at the time, and then I was just like, Shaun the Sheep movie, let's watch this. Um, what an excellent movie!
yeah.
What an excellent movie! I was worried because none of the characters speak, like there's no dialogue throughout the whole thing, and I was worried that
Oh,
that
wow.
wouldn't work that well. But it relies so hard on like visual comedy and like expressive animation and like the way you know how like in Wallace and Gromit's eyebrows are a character in themselves, like the way his eyes move
Yeah.
just is perfect. Like that is very blatant in this. Like all of the characters, all of their faces move perfectly and is very expressive in its animation. So it just becomes like it's not the best movie in the world, but it's great. It's a really good movie.
I'm
It's
really impressed
fun.
by
It's
stop motion
enjoyable. It's
animation.
yeah, it's heartwarming, and it is impressive how like perfect that looks. Like everything looks great.
I've
Um,
always loved the Wallace and Gromit shorts.
yeah, I think they're magical, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
just so
they're
good.
so cute. I
Um,
specifically remember a
yeah.
one where a penguin moves in with them and like kind of
Mm-hmm.
kind of like takes over Gromit's like cute little pet position and like
Yeah.
Gromit like cries for a little bit, and when I was a kid and I saw that I felt so bad for Gromit that like I think after I saw it that day I like cried when I was going to bed. I was like, why is the penguin so mean to Gromit? Ah.
Wasn't he like pretending to be a chicken as well by putting a glove on his head?
I don't know.
Like, because he was in hide, because he was a criminal penguin and he was in hiding or something, and like he was
Oh
pretending he was a
yeah.
chicken.
And
So
he took
that
a
yeah,
glove off his head and Gromit was like,
yeah,
imposter.
yep.
Oh man, I gotta watch those again at some point.
Yeah, Aardman are pretty excellent at just everything, and Shaun the Sheep movie is not an exception. It's great. It's a
Awesome.
wonderful movie and it's enjoyable. So then I watched Star Trek, the recent one. I mean, okay, so Star Trek, I was watching it mostly because I wanted to see if I could get into this franchise because they're gonna keep pushing them out for as long as they can. So I figured I might as well.
Was this the third Star Trek
It
movie in its particular series? Because I saw the second one,
um
I think.
Into Darkness is the second one. This I'm talking about the first the 2009 reboot prequel, I think, because old Spock is there, but like, it's I don't Star Trek. I feel like it was okay. It was a decent movie. It was kind of like fun at times.
Wait, so this wasn't a new
Plotline was
film?
okay. Yeah, it was 2009.
No, but I mean, you didn't like just see it like something that just came out. Because
No,
wasn't
no,
there
no,
like a
'cause
third Star
yeah,
Trek movie that just came out? I don't know. I don't pay
yeah,
attention.
but why would I start with the third one?
I don't know. I was just clarifying because I didn't know which one you meant.
Because no, because it's Star Trek, then it's Star Trek Into Darkness, and then the recent one is Star Trek Beyond, I think,
Okay.
and that one has Simon Pegg in it.
Oh, wait, no, he's in
Yeah,
the
this
second one.
one
I think.
he wasn't in the first one. Weird. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's visually impressive, but I feel like, and this is just a personal thing, but I like sci-fi when it's like it's kind of dirty. I don't know if that's gonna sound really dumb, but like everything in this movie feels kind of clean and like crisp. Whereas if you take like Star Wars or like Firefly or stuff like that, where everything's kind of rustic and it's sci-fi, but everything kind of looks old and dusty, and it just has a lot more personality to it.
Hmm,
Whereas this film, just everything felt really clean, and I don't know
I can
why. I don't know
understand
why
that.
that affects me so much, but it
It
kind
is
of
an
lacked
interesting way
charm
of putting
for
it.
some reason. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I should keep going with this series. Like this one was kind of okay, and I'm not sure I care enough to keep going and watch the second and third one. But
I didn't
I
really
might.
think much of
Who
the second
knows?
one. I was just like,
Yeah, I heard that
that was a movie with
yeah,
some bright lights and things going really
Benedict
fast.
Cumberbatch is in it. Benedict
Yeah,
Cumberbatch is in it though,
but
and I
he's
love
not
Benedict
a
Cumberbatch,
dragon.
and he's not Sherlock,
The
and
only
therefore,
connection I make to that movie is because he plays a character named Khan, and there's that whole
yeah,
typical like famous shout where he's like
that thing,
Khan,
yeah,
and they use that
yeah.
in one of the Miss Marvel volumes because her name
Oh yeah,
is Kamala Khan.
it's Kamala Khan.
And when
Yep.
she's running away from this like crazy guy in a sewer, and he's like, "Khan!" again! And I was like,
I
nice.
totally forgot about that, but yeah, that was good.
That's my favorite
Oh,
Star Trek
man.
reference. It's in Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel is such a good comic. Can we talk about that for a second? How good is that comic?
It's wonderful.
Best
I
comic.
haven't finished reading Volume
Um,
5, but
well, you should,
it's,
because it's
yeah, it's
great.
marvelous.
Oh, God, you're the worst. Okay, so the next movie I watched was Kingsman: The Secret Service, which is excellent.
I don't
This
know
movie,
anything about that.
it's like a British spy movie
Oh.
where like it's 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 almost like a James Bond movie if it didn't take itself that seriously. Like everything
Oh.
is able to like have a joke and have a look like a lot of personality and charm, and it tells this really neat and compelling story. This cast is stellar. Like Samuel L. Jackson's character is amazing. The directing is excellent. The casting is great.
Hmm.
The way that the fight scenes are directed, like that choreography is just amazing to me, and I just the way it's shot, it almost looks like it's sped up at times, but like not in a weird way. Like it looks like it's perfectly like slightly sped up to make the action feel more kind of like heart
Interesting.
stopping.
Does Samuel L. Jackson have a
And it
British
just
accent?
nope, he is an American villain because
Oh, he's a
in
villain.
American films the British guy is always a villain, whereas in English films the American guy is the villain. How good? Or the German guy usually. Actually, we do that a lot. But but yeah, so this movie is great. There's one scene in particular that takes place in a church, and anyone who's seen this movie, you'll know that scene is just incredible, and it's really satisfying to watch. I'm not going to spoil it because I think you should watch this movie because it's great.
Really?
Like I'd like to see what you think of it because
Maybe.
I don't know, it's just a really good movie.
It doesn't sound
The whole
like my
story
kind of
is great.
genre. I'm not really into spy films.
Nor am I. Nor am
Yeah,
I.
I didn't
But
think you
it's
were. That's why I was kind of surprised you saw it.
yeah. It's not really about being a spy. It's kind of it's a story like that's personal to the main character, and
Oh,
it
okay.
follows him through this journey. And it's a spy film, but it doesn't kind of specifically pertain to that genre sort of thing.
All right.
Like how you can enjoy Star Wars even if you don't really love sci-fi sort of thing, or
Sure.
like Iron Man is a superhero movie, but it's kind of more
It's more
about
about
the
Tony
person
Stark.
behind it than being a superhero
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Oh, I love
Um,
Iron Man.
Iron Man is a good movie,
Yeah.
like a very good movie. Um, so then I watched Now You See Me 2, the sequel to a movie I talked about last month.
Cool.
This movie is great. It's a really good movie. Daniel Radcliffe plays the villain, and Daniel Radcliffe is
wow.
perfect for that role. Like he's so smug and arrogant, and like he plays it perfectly. This movie it's not quite as good as the first one, but it's almost there. I think I would have enjoyed this film better if two absolute turds weren't talking the entire time I was watching it in the cinema.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that.
I've never wanted to kill people more than I did then.
You said they were
made me
talking
so
about their
mad.
Snapchat the whole time.
It was really sad.
I'm pretty sure
They
I
were
would have
sitting on
gotten up
Snapchat.
and like gotten in their faces and been like, "You need to shut up or leave."
I turned around and I asked them politely to if they could like be quiet, and then they were a bit quieter for the rest of the film after that, but I could still hear them every now and then, and I was like, I'm so mad. It really annoyed me. And especially in a film where like they're dropping so many like little neat pointers and foreshadowing and little things in the background and stuff that like lead into
Yeah.
future things, and you've really got to be paying attention to get
Things
the
that are
most
cool
out of
to
it. It was
focus
like,
on, and you can't focus because people are like,
yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's a good movie, and that
Oh.
was the only problem I had with it was the fact that people were talking the whole way through.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So then after that, some loser arrived in my country, and I didn't watch as many movies, except we did. Me and you, we went to the cinema and we watched the BFG.
The BFG.
What a magical film! Like
Wonderful
Steven Spielberg
movie.
took that perfectly. 'Cause
Steven Spielberg
it's interesting
plus
because
John Williams equals magic.
yeah, magic. It's interesting because like you'd read the book before we watched the film, whereas I hadn't, and then I read the book afterwards. So like you, while we were watching it, must have been like, oh my god, this is direct, because there are so many lines of dialogue that are just directly pulled from the book.
Directly, yeah. They pretty much
When I
use
was reading the
as
book,
script.
I was hearing, yeah,
Yeah.
like when I was reading the book, I was hearing lines, and I was reading lines, sorry, and I was just hearing them exactly how they were in the film, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is, it's so easy to read that book after seeing that film, because like you know exactly,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have to imagine what all these things look like because I know exactly what they do. It just It was good.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah, they adapted it very
What a good
well.
movie.
Sometimes when I read a book and
Yeah.
then see a film, I usually try not to be too like book elitist and gritty about tearing things apart. But sometimes when I love a
Yeah.
book, see, I don't have the best visual imagination. When I read something, it's often
Yeah.
hard for me to picture stuff. So that's why I do like seeing films adapted from my favorite books, even if the films aren't great, because I like seeing someone else's what someone else imagined when they
Interpretation?
first read
Yeah.
that book. You know what they made characters look like, what they made fantastical creatures look like. So when we were like inside the BFG's house and he was cutting up vegetables, or when we were, you know, walking around Giant Country, I was just like, all right, you know, this is really cool imagery. I love it.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem jarring at all. Sometimes I'll watch a film that was
Yeah.
based off a book and I'm like, oh, that's not how I pictured it. You know, this is a little backwards in my head. I can't really get into this because it's you know, it's not fitting with the puzzle in my mind, but it was perfect. Perfect movie. Beautiful lighting, beautiful filming.
So good.
Ah,
Like, the CG was so on point. Like, the BFG looked amazing, and the guy who played him was, like, incredible in that role. Like,
he really was.
his accent and the way he voiced that character is like, because when you read that dialogue, it's like, no, this is exactly how that character should talk. It was perfect.
Yeah, I loved
It
it.
was so good.
He was very expressive.
Yeah, really good, exceptional movie.
Really good
Would
child
recommend
actor.
going to see. Like, yeah, really good child actor.
Which is
Didn't
rare.
feel awkward or weird at any point. It was really good. Like, just an excellent movie.
Yep.
If you are looking to see something in the cinema right now, go and see the BFG. It's great. Unless you're watching this like 6 days late or whatever, and Suicide Squad's out, in which case, I mean, if you can only see one movie in the cinema, the answer is obvious, right? Oh my god, Suicide Squad is so hype, so hype.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
so
I'm really
then-
hoping it's as good as I hope it is.
Yeah, same. You'll find out what we think next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna see it in cinemas, right? I assume, because I am.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
definitely am. Sweet. We'll definitely have something to talk about next month. Next movie though, Kill Bill Volume 2.
Nuh-uh. Wow.
So, okay, so this one was definitely better than the first one, but not by a huge amount because I still
Well,
didn't really care.
I imagine
about
if you didn't like the
characters.
first volume much, there's not going to be much about the second volume that appeals to you. Like, you're not going to go
Yeah.
from hating the first volume to being like, oh my gosh, this series is amazing if you didn't like it in the first place.
I mean, I didn't think is I didn't hate the first one. I thought it was okay, and people were telling me like, the second one's better. It does more like interesting dialogue and stuff. And to be fair, there were probably more scenes that I enjoyed in this second one than in the first. Like, I really liked the scenes introducing Bud. I really liked just the way that dialogue was, and I think if I watched a Tarantino film with dialogue written like that followed characters I actually cared about and was interested in seeing.
I mean, like when he was
I
at
would
his
enjoy
job
it.
and his boss was going down his
Yeah.
throat. Yeah.
Yeah, and his boss was just being an a-hole to him,
And-
and he was just like, ugh.
A lot of Tarantino movies have dialogue exactly like that, and that's what makes them so charming
Yeah.
to me.
That was entertaining to watch. Like, that was enjoyable, and it's why I don't want to write off Tarantino just based on these films, because I feel like if I watch like Django Unchained or Pulp Fiction, if they're more like those sorts of scenes, I'm going to enjoy
Mhm.
it. But
Django and
just-
A Hateful Eight, I'll say just
yeah,
like Django is much more actiony, although it does have really good dialogue.
yeah,
But things like Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs have a lot of that much more
yeah. Reservoir Dogs is another one. Yeah,
realistic dialogue where people are just sitting or standing around like talking about whatever's on their brain.
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is a conversation I would have. And
yeah.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. Also, personal issue that I had that there are little things in this movie that I didn't like, but I can see why they were there. So, like the
Sure.
first scene where it's showing before the like murder, where it's all in black and white to like show that it's in the past.
Yeah.
I get why he did that, and I get why that's there, but to me, that's just like because I was sitting there like, wait a second, the first one wasn't in black and white. Is this whole film in black and white? And I was really confused by that for a second.
Yeah, sometimes
'cause-
his artistic liberties don't make 100% sense. He's just like, this would
Yeah.
be nice in black and white. And so he does it.
Yeah. And there was a shot when she was being buried, or just before she was being buried, where like the aspect ratio was way smaller to like give this like idea of claustrophobia. I thought that was cool, but I like I don't know, it felt weird and kind of disjointed.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it was all the way through the first one as well. That stupid siren that plays where she like squints into the camera and she sees someone and it just does that. God, that's annoying. Stop doing that. It's so annoying. Ah, I hate that. I hate that. But I like something I realized there was a point where I realized that I kind of was bored of a scene because I had tabbed out to make notes about it, and then I started checking Pokemon Go. By the way, Pokemon Go is such a boring game. It's a grind
here
and
we
it
go.
sucks. Pokemon Go is not fun to play. It's a grind. It's only fun if you can run into like new Pokemon, and even then, it's just like cool, a thing, and then you catch it and you're done. It's not fun.
I think the most fun was naming your Pokemon typos or autocorrect. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, that's a good time. But and then like just after that, like 6 minutes later, I paused the film because the DuckTales theme came into my head, and I wanted to go and listen to it.
What?
So, that happened. Well, I think it was like, I don't even remember when in this film it was, but it was like fairly early on, and I was just so bored during a scene that I just tabbed out to listen to the DuckTales theme. So yeah, that's the thing. Also, every time they mention Hanzo, what's his face? I think of Hanzo from Overwatch, and they keep going on about Hanzo's swords, and I'm like, Hanzo uses a bow, please. It's Genji that uses a sword.
Hattori Hanzo.
Even though Hattori Hanzo is an iconic figure in Japanese history, Overwatch is my brain right now.
Wait, really?
What do you mean, really?
Wait.
Which part? The Overwatch part?
No,
wait. I feel like that's not...
Tarantino didn't invent the character.
Hattori Hanzo is a guy from... No. What do you mean? What?
Wait.
I don't know if... No, okay. I don't know if that specific character in that time period is probably an original thing, but he didn't... He's named after a guy from Japanese history.
Okay. He kind of did that with Django as well. The name Django is like... I think it's from another
from Star Wars Episode 2, The Clone Wars?
Yes, exactly. That is totally what I was going to say. Anyway.
But yeah, also, do you want another nitpicking thing?
Sure, yeah. I like talking about this.
Okay, so why, when she's doing the training montage, does the guy keep doing that thing where he flicks his beard like a doofus?
I don't know.
Like, they do that dead serious thing where she's, like, punching the wood, and it's actually could be an interesting training montage, like, oh, pain and suffering will make you stronger sort of thing. But then he keeps going, like, doing his flicky beard thing, and it's like, this takes away all
and there's, like, a
drama
really,
from this scene.
There's, like, a really loud sound effect where it's like, whoosh.
Yeah, it's...
I understand.
It's such dissonance, because...
I understand that it's ridiculous, but I don't care.
Because... because... I can enjoy a film if it's 100% silly, and I can enjoy a film if it's 100% serious, but when it flits between those, it doesn't work. And then why can he just jump and stand on her sword?
I don't know.
And disobey the laws of physics? This is not Looney Tunes. Stop it.
I think it is really Looney Tunes. Me. I think she went all the way up that mountain and got way too high in the sky and started not being able to breathe normal air, and she started hallucinating. And that's what that whole scene was.
If the whole film was a goofy, wacky action film, I'd be fine with it. But it's not. It takes itself so seriously in certain scenes. So it's just this weird, disconnect between one thing and another. And I just,
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know.
Okay, how did you feel about the very end when she saw her daughter? Did that do
I thought that scene was... it didn't really affect me emotionally, because I wasn't connected to that character at all, but... I don't know, it was fine.
That scene always breaks my heart.
I don't know, I feel like if they had actually made me care about that character better, if it was written... Again, if it was written as a serious story, I could have taken that ending seriously, but I can't take something seriously when there's a dude standing on swords about 20 minutes earlier. Oh, it's so bad.
Whatever.
Although I did like that scene where the eye patch lady makes a black mamba and then just starts telling the guy about the black mamba.
Yeah.
That was good.
That one's wonderful.
That was fun.
I love the child that played her daughter. It's another child actress that I really appreciate. She did a really good job.
She was fine. Yeah. But I don't know. Overall, not the best movie. It was alright. I can see the appeal of it. It just,
That's fair.
for me, on a personal level, there were things in there that just I was like, nah, I can't do this. And then some scenes just felt like they went on for so long. Also, another thing that really annoyed me. Okay, so she can take out like 88 ninjas,
Yeah.
right? But and she's smart enough to plan when she's doing that heist. But when she's attacking Bud, she just kicks the door down like an idiot. Why?
I don't know. That was pretty
Why?
ridiculous.
It's just such an inconsistent character thing, and it just annoyed me. I was just like, you, why are you not smart here? Why did you just do that? It's stupid. Really annoyed me. But anyway, next film I watched, The Human Centipede.
Really.
For realsies.
For
Okay,
real
so
skis.
okay, so I watched this movie purely out of morbid curiosity. I was like, I need to know how much of this they show. Like, I needed to know. I just needed to know, right? It's human curiosity. It just happened.
Okay.
And it kind of turned out to be pretty good. Like, it exceeded my expectations because, I mean, it's not a perfect movie. It's not the best. Like, the two girls in it aren't very good actresses, so they're kind of awkward at times. Like in the early scenes when they're talking and they're kind of awkward and they stumble over dialogue. Like not so much stumble over dialogue, but their delivery's not that great.
Oh.
But then later on, they stop being able to talk for reasons that if you have heard of the Human Centipede, you'll
Yeah.
understand why they stop being able to talk, and then it becomes their roles become less bad.
Because
But,
they're much better as centipedes than they are as humans.
Yep. So okay, this film is far less reliant. You know what we were saying earlier about Saw being more about like the building of tension and this
Psychological
human
thrilling.
struggle
Yeah.
of like psychological like I would hate to be in that position.
Yeah.
That's more what this is about. People act like this is gore porn or whatever, but it's not. Like I was actually worried they were gonna like show loads of shots of him doing the surgery because like that surgery is grotesque and horrible, but they really don't. They show like a couple of shots of him like slicing them up, but there's not that much of it. And I'm really glad because there's a thing where he slices open their kneecaps so that they can't stand up. And I have a thing about kneecaps, and that would have
Yeah.
if they had
Yeah.
shown slicing into kneecaps, I would have freaked the hell out. I would have been like, no.
Wait, but don't they have to
But,
like stand on their hands and knees?
yeah. He slices in and basically cuts the muscle that means that they can like extend their legs so their knees are permanently bent.
Oh.
So they have to crawl.
Interesting.
So they're not able to stand up and
See,
run.
this story sounds
Um,
like something that would have made a really interesting book. Like it sounds like his surgery
Maybe,
and
yeah.
stuff was so detailed that it would have been really disturbing and interesting to read about, and like his whole process and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, could have. The thing that really makes this film excellent is the guy playing the doctor, like the guy who's like making the centipede, is so good at acting that role. He is
Oh.
terrifying. Like he is chilling and he is like, oh, I don't want this guy ever near
So
me.
is he just
'Cause
crazy,
he's, like,
or does he just seem like insanely
he's-
smart and experimental?
Well, he used to be the leading Siamese twins separating surgeon.
Ooh.
I botched the sentence there. So he's like, I used to separate, and then he did 3 Rottweilers and connected them, and then
Whoa.
he's like, I want to do it with humans now. There's a really chilling scene where one of the girls tries to escape, and he's like, one of my Rottweilers tried to escape. That Rottweiler became the middle. That's the most painful position to be. Thanks for trying to escape. You're the middle now. It's so
Oh
bad.
man.
But he's so creepy, he's so disturbing. The guy who plays there's a Japanese guy who plays the front of the centipede, and he doesn't speak a word of English. He just screams in Japanese the whole time, and like there's subtitles and stuff. He's really good at screaming in Japanese and being angry. Like
I feel like that would make his
like-
character so much less human if you can't understand what he's screaming, and that probably makes you feel like. I feel like that would make you feel less sorry for
well,
him.
well, you kind of have to watch it with subtitles and the subtitles like there's a scene later on where he like breaks down. Do you
Oh,
mind about
okay.
spoilers for the Human Centipede?
No, I'd like you to tell me more about it.
Okay, the very end is that almost sounded sarcastic, but like, are you actually curious?
Yes, yeah, because I don't think I'm
Okay.
gonna watch it, but I'm very interested to
Okay,
like,
that's fine.
know details about it.
I feel like if you don't want spoil, who doesn't? Who cares,
Yeah.
right? If you, whatever. But So right at the end, the police, like two police officers end up coming in. The doctor ends up like killing them both, but also dying in this fight,
Hmm.
which leaves basically the guy at the front of the human centipede had already killed himself like before the police came in.
Oh.
So, and then the girl at the back was slowly dying of infection. So the scene at the end, everyone in the house is dead apart from the girl in the middle.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
just slowly pans out and it doesn't show what happened to her. You don't know if anyone came to save her. She could have slowly died of starvation, sewn to two human beings. It's such a horrible ending.
Oh, dang. That's
But, like-
kind of like the ending of Saw, where, like, you just
Oh,
have no
yeah.
idea if anyone comes back for him.
Yeah. It's so unclear and it's really like it's really tense and it's this whole movie is like really tense and it's build up and it's just eerie. It's not really because people assume this movie's about like the gore and the it's a horrible thing to do, but it's more about the human element of it, like the psychology of being trapped in that position.
And how disturbed
And
someone
that
has to
ending
be
is like
to like do that to
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah. And you're like when they pan out and they slowly pan out and you can just hear her crying, I'm just sitting there like, no, you don't end here. You don't end no, show me what happened. And they don't. And as far as I can tell, because I read the synopsis for the sequel, as far as I can tell, they will never tell you what happened to her.
A sequel?
Because the sequel, The Human Centipede 2, follows a guy...
Human Millipede?
It follows a guy who watched the first one in the real world and then decided he got so obsessed with the first movie that he decided to make his own Human Centipede with 12 people.
Oh,
And
weird.
I'm kind of curious to watch that now. And then apparently, I think the third one is a guy watching The Human Centipede 2 and deciding to do it again.
That
in the real
honestly
world.
sounds
And it-
really dumb.
Yeah,
Like-
that sequel strategy is super dumb.
That
Like,
is
it
meta
works
done
once,
wrong.
It's not going to work a second time. But the first this movie, The Human Centipede, I genuinely enjoyed it as a sort of building horror thing, like a psychological
Okay.
thing.
That's kind of neat.
Actually, is quite good. Like
Like, it makes me wonder
it's interesting.
how graphic it is with, like... So, this is gross, but, like, the thing on my mind right now is when you have to sew a human
Yeah.
being's mouth on another human being's back end, like, are their, like, lips really stretched out and, like, sewn on there? Like, I
Okay.
feel like they would look like a human trumpet with their lips all, like, ah.
He nope, what he does is he cuts like flaps out of the butts of each of them and then he cuts the lips clean off and then
Ooh.
cuts like a slice up the cheeks and then sews the flaps to the cheek holes. This is really hard to
See, I don't
explain.
know which cheek
And
you're
then-
talking about.
The face cheek.
Okay.
In fact, both cheek. Like there's a flap cut out of the butt cheeks, and then that's sewn into where like he's cut holes in the face cheeks, so they are literally sewn by the face
man.
to flesh.
See, I
and
feel like I
it's-
need images to go on with this, but I like...
They don't show it that graphically. So like they don't show the actual mouth to anus. Like they don't close up on that, but they show like the scars along the cheeks from where like they've been sewn up. It's not that graphic, but it's like you don't want to be in this position. It's not good.
Okay, so it seems like a
It's-
pretty well-made film, and I think we've probably talked enough about it. The sequels sound incredibly dumb, but if you ever get around to
Yeah.
watching that, go ahead and let me know.
Yeah, I will.
Were there any other movies?
So, nope. That's all the movies. In total, that's 7 movies. One of those was a lie. Do you want me to run through the list?
Yes, please.
Shaun the Sheep movie, Star Trek, Kingsman: The Secret Service, Now You See Me 2, The BFG, which you know I saw because you saw it with me, Kill Bill
I don't
Volume
know.
2, and The Human Centipede.
I mean, for all I know, you had your eyes closed the whole time. You might... Star Trek.
Ah, it's the first time you've got it right
Yeah.
in so long.
You didn't do a very good job
was-
at, like, you didn't say very much about it, and maybe I'm getting better
No,
at this,
I-
maybe you're getting worse, but yeah, that was my
I
guess
was really...
from the
I
get-go.
wasn't, to be fair, I wasn't planning on going into so much detail with The Human Centipede, but, like, it's such an interesting topic to talk about
Yeah.
that I just...
See, I thought the Human
I had to
Centipede was
keep
going to
going.
be a snakes on a plane situation where you were going to be
Yep.
like, oh, I just watched some stuff on YouTube and then talked about those scenes. But you seem to
Yeah.
really
No,
enjoy
it's
that.
Genuinely. Yep. I don't like saying that I enjoyed it, though, because it makes me sound like a creep pervert. Like, I didn't enjoy it for the that reason. I enjoyed it because it's a psychological commentary on
I
like
think
messed up human beings.
if you talk to other people who've seen it and say you enjoyed it, they'd understand. But I think probably everyone who
Yeah.
hasn't seen it, just because they know what it's about,
Yeah.
is probably like,
They're
ew,
like,
whatever.
"Ew,
Yeah, gore
gross."
porn, like you said. But
Yeah. But before we go,
yikes.
I just want to give a shout out. Voyager G0 suggested the Shaun the Sheep movie. Hero, legend, great movie. Thank you for suggesting
yeah.
it. Keep it up. Joseph Hunt suggested Kingsman. In this really nice comment that I really appreciated. Great comment. Did really enjoy that movie. Like, this guy is on a roll.
Which,
He also suggested Guardians of the
I was
Galaxy, and
gonna
I'm
say,
like,
someone suggested Guardians of the Galaxy, and I read that and I was like,
as if.
Dan loves that movie.
Best movie ever, as if I haven't seen that. He also said that he would like me to see The Martian, but that wasn't his suggestion.
I watched
think what I
that.
might
I watched that on
Did
the
you? Did you hear that?
plane. Yeah, on the plane home. And
Nice.
I talked about that book on a previous episode,
Yep.
and it's a wonderful book, and the movie totally holds up. It's really well adapted.
Alright,
They
that's cool.
they adapted it really well from book to screen. Um,
Nice.
The music is wonderful. I actually felt really emotional during many of the scenes, and part of it was because they utilized the music very well. But
Yeah.
what was the guy's name?
Matt Damon?
Yes. Sorry if you heard noise in the background. My cat is chasing a fly. He did a really good job.
Classic.
Everyone in that movie actually did a really good job. It was a really, really believable
Nice.
sci-fi story, and like I said, Mars is my favorite fictional sci-fi
Nice.
setting.
But yeah, I think I want to watch The Martian, but because I've got a Kindle now, I might try and read it first.
That'd be cool.
I'm not sure if it affects anything, but yeah. So if you are thinking of suggesting The Martian, don't save it for suggest a different movie because I'm gonna eventually watch The Martian, but I'd like to read the book first. So yeah,
Real quick,
that's just the thing.
do you want to know what else I watched on the plane?
What else do you watch on the
First
plane?
Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that I watched of my own volition for the second time without anyone like sitting in the room with me or making me watch it. Deadpool.
Deadpool is not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so
What?
you can shut up. It's Fox.
What?
It's Fox. The MCU would not have a movie like Deadpool in it. What are you chatting?
But it had
Do I
the
need
whole.
to school you on?
No, it had that thing in the front of the film where it like flips through different like comic
Nah,
scenes.
that just means it's a Marvel property. It's a Fox movie.
Is it really?
Fox own the rights to all the X-Men
Can we
stuff.
cut this part out so I
and
don't sound like
Deadpool
an
comes
idiot?
under. Nah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. No, a lot of people get confused.
Okay, fine.
because
Well,
about who owns
let me-
what rights for Marvel. It's annoying.
let me rewind my voice. The first movie based off a Marvel comic that I watched a second time of my own volition.
What a good movie,
Ever since
right?
since Iron Man, which was the first
Yeah.
was like my introduction into superheroes. And if anyone finds this interesting, when I was like 15 and I first saw Iron Man, I thought that whoever made that movie invented him because I didn't really know what comic books were. I thought he was a brand new superhero when Robert Downey Jr. played him, and I absolutely adored him, and I loved that movie, and I watched it so many times. And then a sequel came out, and that was at the time when
Cult
I was
movie.
like, sequels ruin everything, and so I didn't watch it. And then I realized that there were more
Iron Man 2 is
characters
fine.
and more movies. I didn't really like it eventually when I saw it.
And it's alright. I don't love it, but I don't think it deserves the hate everyone. I think Iron Man 3 deserves the hate everyone doesn't give it. I think the public opinion should swap because Iron Man 3 is appalling and Iron Man 2 is kind of
I
fun.
adored Iron Man
Everyone needs
3, but that's because I love Tony and Pepper. But anyway, that's not the point.
It's
The
trash.
point is,
Trash.
ever
kid.
since...
Ugh.
Shush! The point is, ever since Iron Man came out, and I loved it so much, whenever a Marvel movie came out, I never really watched it a second time because they're just not the kind of movies I watch again unless I can watch it with someone and
I am like
discuss
the
it.
opposite
Yeah,
of
you
that.
really are the opposite of that. But I just really wanted to watch Deadpool again. I loved it. It's a perfect, honestly, it's a perfect romantic comedy because it's exactly what it is, and it does
Yep.
rom-com like no movie ever has before. I love that film.
Yep. It's excellent. Like, so good. I feel like I talked about it on Across the Pond in February, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
February
because
that-
it came out
on
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, what a good movie. Yeah, Deadpool is
Yep.
great. Before we go, I just wanted to say, Kill Bill Volume 2, I totally wasn't going to watch it. After you left, I checked the comments for Across the Pond,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, Tim has left us massive paragraphs.
Yeah.
Read through them. He was
I was
like,
gonna
you
ask
should
if
watch
you'd
Kill
read
Bill Volume
those.
2, and I'm like, Tim, now I've got to do it.
Oh yeah, because it was technically a suggestion in the comments.
It was technically
Aw,
a comments
good on you,
suggestion,
Tim.
so
Good job.
thanks, Tim. You douche. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. I love you, dude. You're the best. Thanks for watching all of our episodes. Everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Leave us more
Absolutely.
comments. I like getting suggestions. Because I so many of the films that I've really enjoyed this year have been suggested films. Like I really liked About Time. I really liked Kingsman. I really enjoyed the Shaun the Sheep movie. Just pretty much no one has failed me so
Yeah.
far with suggestions. No one has suggested anything bad. So,
we need to go through the list of
as far as
movies
I
you've watched
remember-
that you have also suggested that I watch, and maybe I can like give you comments on them.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
now that
true.
you've learned how to read, you can read some of the books that I've read and put little comments
Now
on
that
them.
I've learned how to read,
Dan reads books
yeah.
now.
So,
Books.
well, I own a Kindle now. Me and QJ are gonna read the Song of Ice and Fire series.
Oh
We're
yeah.
not sure. We might do it as a separate show. I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe we'll just talk about it on Across the Pond because,
Yeah.
we're gonna try and coordinate and read the same amount, and be in tune, and then everyone can hear us ramble about that. So that'll
Yeah.
be fun. Rambly outros.
Here we go.
Are we done? Are we good?
Yeah. Good times.
All right. Yeah. Anything else you need to say before you end this one?
I don't think so. I think you put me on the spot
Good.
here.
Everyone, go watch the BFG. It's real good.
Everyone
Yeah.
read Kurt Vonnegut because he's wonderful.
Okay. Leave suggestions in the comments. I would take book suggestions as well, but I have a big backlog of books that
Yes,
I want to
you
read,
do.
so I won't get to them immediately. I will get to immediately if you suggest them. Books probably not. I'm
Oh.
not going to
I
force
already
myself
gave
to
you
read.
a
'Cause books are
wall
so
of
much of a
text
longer
full of
investment.
book suggestions.
You did, and I already had my own,
Yep.
The God Delusion and Mike Tyson's autobiography.
That is a very small wall.
Hey now,
You're an
there
all-star.
are more, but those are
Bye.
the ones.
Bye, Dan. Enjoy August.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.